seen it, is the all-digital card game by Riot Games based on the League of Legends IP. I'm not the biggest fan of their current constructed format, but they have a lot of game modes in Runeterra that are, a couple of the other ones are very reasonable. I like their limited format is what I actually really enjoy. You see, I've actually got half a run here. One of the things that's nice about their limited format is that their limited format gives you 2 runs per limited entry, and their weekly vault every week gives you a free limited trial. So their drafting is a little bit higher power level than most Magic draft formats because you don't draft individual packs, you draft groups of cards. So, for example here, you start by picking one of these sets of 3. Pertinent Squire. Garen is like the best champion out of these 3 groups of champions. All these groups seem kind of weak, honestly. Pertinent Squire requires you to have other elite cards, which is kind of like a creature type. So if I draft this and we want to leverage it appropriately, we're kind of pigeonhole ourselves into that. I wonder if we can end up first drafting a bunch of elites. Let's grab that and see what our next one is here. We could also draft this, and like Garen and Radiant Strike are pretty generically reasonable cards, and then just like, this will just be a 1-mana 2/2 for the most part. And then I kind of have a decision to make here. Kindred is a more controlling champion. It's another kind of expensive piece of top end. And when you slay something, so you kill something, you get to mark and kill another thing. So this kind of helps you control the board a little bit. The Duskbringer Gift Giver Zoe package here is a little bit more aggressive. All 3 of these are pretty reasonable 1-drops. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Zoe as a champion. I like her design. She's an elusive threat that slips past blockers, and she generates super cool star charts when she hits the opponent. So I think I'm gonna grab these Dorkos and build something aggressive. So Zoe is probably my favorite champion in the game. And this is one of the things I like that Runeterra does in their draft to make sure even when you're a new player drafting Runeterra for the first time, your decks tend to be reasonably cohesive because the way you pick through, while you make decisions and what your deck looks like, you generally speaking don't end up with unplayable things. So this is the synergy pick, they call it. So here's cards that work with elites. So if I wanted to push in the direction of elites with Pertinent Squire, this kind of sets me up to do that. Or I could grab, this, which is another Nightfall card to work with some of these other Targon cards that I've worked from. So this pick here kind of dictates which direction I want my deck to move in. I think I'd rather have the Pale Cascade. The elites tend to be kind of expensive, chunkier units. I like being lower curve in Runeterra Gauntlets or Runeterra Expeditions a lot of the time. So because I grabbed this last time, it's actually the same pack, and I think I'm actually down for another set of it. And from here, I probably want to focus on this kind of Nightfall style stuff, so I want to prioritize picking up Nightfall. Yeah, I agree. Grant an ally challengers. This is like kind of a piece of removal. Challenger forces things to block you. Honestly, it's probably just another Pale Cascade and Startle Stomper. Yeah, much like Magic's limited, you can draft. Normally, Runeterra constructed decks have a limit of 3 cards, but we could just draft all the Pale Cascades. Sparklefly and Mentor both sound great. This is elusive and lifelink, so as people have a hard time racing it. Also fills the curve nicely. We have a lot of 2s here, but a lot of these 2s are Pale Cascades, so they're not proactive 2s. It is a pretty Sparklefly, I agree. I actually really like Egghead in general. So when he's summoned, he creates a random dragon follower in hand, and a lot of the dragons tend to be pretty bomby. So this is like a card that fills your curve early that also gives you a late game play. Spacey Sketcher isn't super amazing. I guess I have Dustbringer and Gift Giver to pair with this to give me things to discard. And then Lunari Priestess here is a decent Nightfall, and I've got some other Nightfall cards and enablers. So I could take Confront as a piece of pseudo removal. I can also just take more 1s and 2s, just like really plan to flood the board. This 1/4 is pretty mediocre though, as far as my aggressive strategy goes. Like these would be more good elite cards if I wanted them, but the stat line of this doesn't really fit in with what I'm looking to do in my deck. Guess from Beyond's probably decent utility. It's an okay Nightfall enabler because it's a cheap card at burst speed, and this like invokes so it can grab us a bomb potentially. We don't have a ton of top end. Goat and Sky Shadows both sound great here. Just 3 power 2-drops. Ooh, this is great. Another Egghead and then a Grizzled Ranger for a little bit. I actually don't have any 4s at the moment. Sunless Figure is a pretty reasonable combat trick, and it's Grant, so it permanently gives you the bonus, and Goat's a pretty good card overall. I'm not super in love with Spacey Sketcher in general. So we actually have two Priestess picks here, and I think I want that, so I need to decide, do I want the Flight as a cheap elusive threat or another Duskbringer? I've already got 2 Duskbringers, so diversifying into the Flight is another card that can push damage. Sounds kind of appealing. So this hits your opponent. When this hits your opponent, you get to draw a card and shuffles back in. All right, and then I get to swap some of these picks if I want. Shade Stalker sounds awesome. Definitely not. Don't really care about Radiant Strike. All right, and then when you play out the Runeterra limited format, you get to play until you lose 2 games in a row, or you stop when you've won 1-7. Let's dive on in here, huh? Does a Flight keep buffs when it shuffles back in? I don't believe so. Which I actually think is kind of confusing. I don't believe it says that on the card, but I'm pretty sure you don't keep buffs. We're attacking on evens here, which is a little bit sad with Zoe. I think we mulligan the Squire since we have Zoe as a 1-drop. So we have to go Zoe on 1 into Startled Stomper on 2. If you haven't seen Runeterra before, one of the things that's really unique about Runeterra from other card games is that both players play every turn in Runeterra. So my opponent played a card, now I get an opportunity to play a card. We both have resources over here. The resource progression in Runeterra is similar to something like Hearthstone in that you have a linear progression of mana. Every turn, each person gets 1 additional mana. Combat is very similar to Magic in that one player declares attackers and the other player declares blockers. So I don't want to throw away my 1/1 into their 2/2 here. Just going to take the hit, use my life total as a bit of a resource. The thing that kind of differentiates my turn from their turn is that, differentiates my turn from their turn is that, who gets to attack. So you saw this kind of attack token flip over. So they had got to attack last turn. Now I get to attack the second turn. When Zoe hits my opponent, she creates this super cool star chart. And super cool star chart invokes a celestial card that costs 3 or less. This is kind of similar to the Hearthstone Discover mechanic, and then it picks me 3 things to look at to pick from. They gave this Challenger. Okay, so do I do something Challenger this turn? I think I'm gonna use Star Chart here to fish for a silence. Yeah. Did not find a silence. They're gonna get to kill my Zozo, which is sad. How do I want to sequence my next couple of turns? So it says Challenger, so it's going to get to force Zoe to block. This has Nightfall, which means it gets a bonus if I play something else out before it. I think I just want the doggo to draw, but it doesn't fill my curve super great. I do get to bank some spell mana here, so like this turn, this 1 extra mana is going to get rolled over for us, which is nice. This is going to go ahead and trade here. And then next turn, I'll go up to 4 plus 1 saved. And then if I... It's not a terrible pickup. Nice, Drunkowl. Christy and I just got our vaccine appointments for next Wednesday. Which is nice. I think I'm going to gifts into Priestess here as opposed to doggoing at this point. And I think with this, I'm going to grab the Crescendium. So this card kind of gives me a selection of utility things. So this one grabs us a 2-cost follower out of the deck, which will be nice for next turn. And this uses that invoke mechanic, so we have to look at 3 different cards. Golden Sister sounds lovely. All spells cost 1 more. That's rude for my Pale Cascades. If they open attacks, we'll trade here. So, this is one of the interesting choices you have to make in games of Runeterra a lot of the time. So the rounds in Runeterra end when both players pass. So my opponents passed here with 5 mana available and 3 mana already banked, and you could only bank 3 mana in Runeterra. So I think I actually choose to end the round here rather than deploying another threat, because if I end the round, my opponent loses this 5 mana, and I'm only losing 1, getting to save 2 of this 3. So by ending the round, my opponent's losing 4 points of resource efficiency here in terms of playing to the board. In Runeterra, compared to Magic, tempo from spending your resources each turn tends to be more important than card advantage, because you can kind of think of Runeterra compared to Magic as you're drawing twice as many cards in Runeterra, because you're drawing a card on your turn and their turn effectively, and there's no lands in your decks to flood on. Okay, I'm going to Pale Cascade here to try and eat their 1/3. And these will trade and these will trade. The eye over here on the left side before I click OK tells me how combat's going to resolve. So you can see it shows me what's going to happen with our life totals. My opponent gets a chance to play more cards before combat resolves, so if they have combat tricks of their own, they could play those out. But they don't, so combat resolves like the eye showed me. What is in their hand? They're just passing with 5 mana again? Runeterra's constructed format is still pretty, it's pretty aggro and combo focused. The best way I would describe it is it's similar, their current constructed format feels very similar to playing like Modern or Historic from Magic, only in a best of 1 setting. So if you're into that sort of gameplay, it's definitely reasonable. We're currently playing an Expedition, their limited format. I'm a bigger fan of their limited format. This is a Severe, who levels when they've dealt 35 damage. She has Quick Attack and Spell Shield. The first thing that targets her gets negated, and she hits first inside of combat. I think I'm dropping a Moondreamer here. Let's see what we get with this. That's a Scourge. So, Scourge is a 10 drop, which is a pretty big bomb. I kind of think I want, like, we're pretty far off of playing this. We're still 3 turns away. I think I want Traveler.
What do you see from your lofty perch?
Yeah, Traveler lets us just, like, grind more, right? This invokes as well, so you gotta just get a redraw. That's really good. This lets them strike this, and then when this dies, their champions everywhere get +2/+2. Gross.
My star fades.
Yeah, I don't know if we're gonna be able to recover from that one.
It's a
This thing's getting pretty close to leveling up too. Yeah, I haven't played the expedition since their latest expansion went live. This is my first time poking into it again. Maybe we can run them down with Elusus here. A lot of chunky monsters. Let's try and see what we get. I mean, I guess we could go deeper. The problem with grabbing Cosmic Inspiration is this needs us to behold another Celestial, and Traveler's my only Celestial at the moment, so like if they open challenging my Traveler with this, I just kind of get blown out. So I think I just grab another one of these. Sure, I believe you that there's competitive mid-range decks Hidden Flame. I think it's just fair to also say that, like, you know, there's competitive fair decks in like Historic and Modern too, but like those decks have to play against a good amount of combo and aggro still, because that's what those formats are. Runeterra always has a lot of archetype diversity. Their constructed formats are very, very varied. Even what would be considered Runeterra bad formats are very varied in terms of the number of decks you can play in them. Alright, so we can drop the Scourge next turn, right? So I think we just take this, and then our plan will be to load our board up this turn and hope that this ends the game next turn. I think there's a little bit of disconnect in the nomenclature that I use, or the descriptive language that I use, because I would never define an aggro deck in any game really as being unfair. Like aggro decks are inherently very, very fair in general.
A drop of kindness creates many
unfair in terms of card game descriptors generally. Well, speaking of unfair. So my opponent basically just cast Time Walk, which probably means we're dead.
These jewels are more than mere trinkets. Protector, shield me!
Silence, congrats.
They forced us to choose death or the blade.
How many cards do I have in hand? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Do I have, is that 10? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, okay, so if you go to draw a card and don't have a spot for it, it just gets burned away. So I want to play a card out here, so I don't lose my draw step next turn. Don't know that this is going to be enough to drag us across the finish line anymore. This rally was really, really brutal. Pushed a lot of damage here. This card has Challenger, so it's going to get to force one of their things to block, and then it gives everything else +2/+2, but their board is just so big right now. Alright, yeah, we're super dead, right? Yikes. Okay, top rate it is. Cute 1410. Get spanked. We're currently playing Limited Dream, so there's some pseudo combo things in Limited still, obviously, because they're the same card pool as normal Runeterra Constructed would be, but happens a little bit less consistently. I mean, you could definitely, like, get comboed in Runeterra Limited. It just doesn't happen as consistently as happens in Constructed, because obviously people can't pick and choose exactly what they do. Honestly, I think we keep the Stomper here. We're attacking on evens again, which feels bad, especially with Mentor of Stones.
Night flowers upon my blade.
I think it's probably fair to say, Scholar, that all unmanaged TCG formats with a sufficiently large card pool will eventually turn into combo-centric formats, generally speaking. Because just kind of as you add more cards to a game, it's only natural that there's going to be more things that, like, team up to end the game kind of instantly, right? And I think that you could balance that if you want to with format management, but it's a big if you want to, I think, is a big factor in that.
Speak, I say.
And I also don't think combo decks are inherently unhealthy in general. In fact, I would probably argue a well-balanced, good TCG format has some amount of combo decks in it. There's a lot of people that really enjoy that type of gameplay, and it's pretty unique in a lot of different ways, depending on the way it's done. The good versus bad, healthy versus unhealthy combo usually comes down to what amount of counterplay is offered against those combo decks in that format. And in my mind, that would be the key distinguishing factor. All right, so this is probably going to hook into this, which means I probably want a Pale Cascade to trade with this. So I want to leave at least 2 resources up, so I think we're going to play Stomper. But I mean, like, even Legacy, that's less combo-oriented, that's a format that has its ban list managed, right? Like, Legacy is less combo-oriented than something like Vintage, because Legacy has Moxen and other key cards banned like Mind's Desire, right? That's a good example of, okay, this isn't combo-focused, but because we managed it.
They cannot see.
So this gets to block Zoe, unfortunately, so I probably don't want to attack in with her. I think I'm going to go ahead and gem these, and then smack with the rest.
No more hiding.
Eyes open. Carved meat bigger than you.
My opponent's deck has Karma and Aesol as its champions. Their top end's a lot scarier than mine. I'm definitely the beatdown in this matchup.
Whatever the cost.
Hey, what's going on, Rip? Good afternoon. I think, again, we're just gonna, like, invoke into invokes.
Sky.
Yo, dog. Heard you like invokes. I got you some invoke with your invokes. Getting a bunch of differently named cards lets me work towards leveling Zoe up. She levels up when I cast 10. She's seen me cast 10 differently named cards.
Smash them. Leave them freeze.
Yikes. Speaking of their top end being better than ours. Huh. think it's this. It could be Equinox to silence this, but they're gonna attack and kill Zoe anyways. I kind of like doing this, and then we'll Lunari Priestess this turn into this next turn.
The mountain knows me. I am the traveler.
Oh. Yeah, deal. Sick. Okay, so I have 8 mana next turn. So I get to Cosmic Inspiration into Equinox this. Silencing a unit wipes all of its text box away. So that means this will lose its Regenerate and its Challenger.
The land provides to those who listen. The answer lies within.
Talrand, thank you for the 39 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Nice. That gives all of my units everywhere +2/+2 for the rest of the game. I think I start by attacking. Okay. Frostbiting her, that's fine. Karma's trading here then. Another Frostbite. Okay. So this is bumping into here. They're taking 7 down to 7. And then I'll get to silence the troll here. Silence the troll, chat. It's a lot like issuing a timeout on Twitch.
Words are lost in the roar of the winds.
Daddy! Thanks for the 2/3 of a year. Welcome back. What historic decks are you most looking forward to testing Strixhaven? Torrential Gearhulk decks. Magma Opus. Sounds like a really fantastic card. Man, that's unfortunate. We're gonna get to level her this turn. It's not fair, Zoe, you're right. That's fine. Our hand's pretty good here still.
One star's whimsy is another spark.
Draw some cards with Doggo here.
On this, moon that, the jolts it has no reprieve, finding planets to retrieve.
It has no I don't think I've ever heard that voice line before. Has no reprieve, finding planets to retrieve. I'd like to put a gem here that enables Nightfall on my Pale Cascade. You could have more Frostbites or ways to gain life here. If they have a star shaping, they could gain 10.
Act with conviction.
Yeah, exactly that, Danny. So we're entombing, and we're doing that. I think I'm Pale Cascading this to try and trade with their karma here. Nice. And this lets this live through this. This would be a great exchange for us. Nice. They didn't have anything. Oh, wow, and they bounced my Invoker. That's a huge mistake. It's a pretty... I think we're probably in a good spot regardless, but giving me an extra Invoke here is,
What do the stars reveal, Mother Moon? It reminds us there is always more to discover.
Doggo. Even if they have a superhero of some sort. Yeah, I mean, that qualifies. Well, shit. That was definitely a card that could drag them back into the game. When is Bioshock? About half hour to 45 minutes, depending on how long this event goes. Hopefully they're still dead on opens. Oh, I should probably Spring Gifts this. Alright, sick. Thank God for Cosmic Inspiration, huh? If we hadn't pumped everything by +2/+2, I would have gotten all of our stuff. Strixhaven looks insane for EDH players. A lot of really sweet designs in it. Alright. We get to pick a second champion up here. I would love a second Zoe. Never not taking the second Zoe. Yeah, Bioshock's been really good. We're about 5 or 6 hours in at this point. We played for almost 3 hours yesterday. Might finish it today, depending on how long we go. I'm told it's only about 8 to 10 hours. Honestly, I think I'm keeping all of these. Zoe plus Vigor to protect her. Yeah, I've not played the first 2 Bioshock titles before, no. They are Trundle, Diana, Abe.
The Winter's Claw strikes. The Winter's Claw.
I just take this trade. And now here I have to decide, do I want to prioritize generating tempo with Zoe or card advantage? So when she strikes, if I already have the star chart in my hand, she reduces it by 1. Whereas if I don't have a star chart, she gives me a new one. So I could play this. I could play this and then get another star chart, or I could hit them and reduce the cost on this. And I think I kind of like reducing the cost. Because if I make this cost 1, I can star chart into Priestess this turn with my 4 mana. And the round here. I think this pass is good for me. It's close though. We're trading even amounts of mana. I'm a little bit ahead on board with Zoe. This can potentially keep Zoe alive through challengers, which is nice. This is more elusive power, though. Like, I've got this, too. This is a proactive play that kind of protects her as well, and with these two. Yeah, I could stop, like, a Shatter with this. I like that idea. And if they have a +1 here, I have a +1. I just let this happen, right? She's at 6 out of 10, which is nice. I think we just open attacks here. Yeah, this is my favorite Runeterra game board by a lot.
I'll protect the villages.
I like it a lot. So do we star chart into Priestess here, I think? Ooh, this is. Silver. Silver's really good here. It can give us the surprise Zoe level potentially. I think we just grab... Huh, that's close. It could just be Crescent Strike to try and keep a... Well, I could silence the... I'm out of mana this turn though, so I can't silence. I can't silence it this turn. I think it's Strike for buying tempo. While we try and level her up. Oh, I could do this with it. I don't know if that's worthwhile.
Many tribes, one Freljord.
Okay, so we can level her whenever we want now. Hey chat, our board's gonna have Scout next turn. Ooh, ooh. Honestly, with Zoe in play too, I think I just get Gravium here. So when Zoe's leveled, she says whenever I play an ally with the keyword, all of my units in play gain that keyword. This does 2 to all other units. I think we Pale Cascade this, right? Keep that alive. Wow, no frostbite here means I get to double behold, which is huge. But that's probably the game, right?
I ran as fast as I could. The journey is difficult. These will protect you.
I wonder if that's a bug. Zoe's animation is happening even when I'm playing cards without keywords.
What's that run?
Getting paid off for our stuns there. Like leveling Zoe, still great.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. It makes me sad, like, so many of the players in this game, like, seem to hate Targon as a region. And I always felt like I was kind of afraid to say that I think Targon's actually my favorite region in the game currently. I like the design of Zoe and a lot of the Targon cards. I actually don't think any of these trades are that good for me. I think I kind of want to keep my 2-drops. Especially Zoe. Is anybody that's been playing Runeterra Constructed, is the accepted best champ to pair with Zoe still Lee Sin? Is the Lee Sin deck still a Zoe Lee Sin deck? I love how something that's true of all card games everywhere is like you'll ask different people and get completely different answers. Because Hobbit's saying Zoe Lee Sin is really struggling, and someone earlier was like Zoe Lee Sin's the best combo deck in the format at the moment. Never change card game players. Mulligan aggressively looking for a Zoe in my opener. Depends on if you're talking about ladder or gauntlet. Yeah, that's true. That's fair. Yeah. The fact that ladder competitive Runeterra and the ladder are very different formats is something that's is something to consider. Sounds perfect, J-Ray.
I've got you.
You have spent... Actually, do I even... I think I just do this, right? Like, they spent 4 mana, now they don't even get to kill my thing. And then, in fact, I can spring gifts this, even. I don't think I want to, but we could.
They cannot strike what they cannot see.
I don't know exactly how the site works, but I use a site that compiles top lists. Yeah, links are enabled, Night Stars. You can link something. It has Zoe Acel 3rd and Zoe Lee 4th. Okay.
We were peaceful once.
I go unseen.
This is the site. I caught some fuss on Twitter about this site. This was the site that was using the Runeterra API to give you deck lists of your current opponent while you were playing the match or something.
Many rituals.
Yes, yeah, this is an expedition, Dr. Mister. The Runeterra overlay is third party, but it's still A+.
Looks like I'm ready. Bye-bye. Oh, floaty crystals.
Who are you? You're strange.
They gave the deep the deep is probably the archetype that got the biggest buffs in the last balance patch, Dude Light. So I'd wager that its current play rate is probably a little bit better than its actual power level, just because it's like the thing that got the most new toys. Yeah, the deep got 2 really good buffs in the last patch. If you enjoy playing the deep, it's probably pretty reasonable.
Wisdom is strength. With a little time, I'll have a breakthrough. Time for violence.
I'll do it again, I swear. Think I'm just opening attacks here? Draven Israel's back in the format. That's good to see. Draven Israel's like a good example of a quintessential fair deck.
They thought we wouldn't fight back.
That's a lot of chunky monsters with double attack.
A little luck.
Throw some chunk blockers out here.
Oh dear.
Oh yeah. Gross.
This might hurt you.
This is a sponsored segment, Dr. Mr. Punny, for the Runeterra on the Twitch bounty board. So it's not sponsored by Riot, it's sponsored by Twitch. I've talked about their bounty board post thing on occasion. They also have second Bale Cascade. I unfortunately do not have my third copy. And this with Overwhelm gets to crunch in pretty hard here. I guess we're gonna see what we can roll with Lunari Priestess. We'll go Garen into Priestess here.
For Demacia.
I don't have any other Celestials, so unfortunately I can't do this. Is Written in the Stars good enough? I guess I have 2 Zoes. Is a 4 mana 3/3 Zoe good enough? It's probably Crescent Strike. The problem with Crescent Strike is if they open attack, it's not very good. I think we gem Garen so he can attack into this one. And then I'm gonna go ahead and crunch here. Honestly, I think I just want to push as much damage as possible, so they want to take some free eats down here. I've got other things to fill into the board. They did do a stunning into attack. I mean, they have a bunch of cards in hand in 11 mana. So I think the odds of this being a lethal is pretty unlikely. I think I'd rather try to gain some life here with this, so that way they don't open attacks next turn, and then I can do this next turn. Get to eat Garen now.
It only turn back. I won't feel a thing.
This is probably game ending. I can hit a silence off of this.
And here's where I peak my constellation.
It reminds us there is always more to discover.
Okay, so this is +4/+4, so it's 6 total toughness. Technically not dead on board. So hopefully we just don't want them to open attacks, because if they don't open attacks, Crescent Strike can stun both of these, which gives us decent attacks in the backswing. I mean, like I mentioned earlier, Runeterra's formats are basically always pretty varied, and honestly, I think that's a feature of the ladder too. Like, even Magic's, like, bad formats, their ladders tend to be pretty varied in gameplay. Laddering in card games in general always tends to be a lot more casual people focused on having fun than what's it called, than tournament settings tend to be. Can I survive this attack without giving up this? I don't think so. They're attacking for 20. This is 6, 8. Yeah, probably have to trade this here. I'm not super happy about it though. Not just dead at least, I suppose. End up at 6 here. And then maybe these gems on the back of this Sparklefly can drag us back into the game, depending on how many stuns they have next turn. Use one of these so we don't lose that resource. Yeah, and our deck's just like kind of low to the ground. So like at this point, we're gonna get outclassed by a lot of their stuff here. Hey, Comic, thanks for the sub gifts. You're having a good one wherever you're at. I appreciate the support.
It only turned back.
You cannot win.
Yeah, I was really glad they keyworded the jet speed to focus. It's a nice upgrade in terms of simplifying card text.
Tales of our past are seeds for our future.
I taste purple.
Eye teeth purple. You know, all the cards in our hands here now. All these created cards are face up. It's okay, we'll just win the next one and wipe this one out, huh? Right, swaps. Hush for Squire sounds lovely. Squire is not particularly good in our deck. I mean, you fit into any of the Timmy, Johnny, Spike categories. Probably somewhere between Timmy and Johnny. I don't know. Like, I played competitively for a long time, so like, I enjoy playing competitively while doing my own thing. I like brewing, but I also like taking my brews to tournaments. Which is actually one of the tough things about the multi-deck formats like Runeterra and Mythgard and Hearthstone and others do, is it's really hard to be a brewer who likes to, yeah, competitive casual is a kind of made-up term I like for myself. It's tough to do that in multi-deck formats, though. It's hard to brew multiple competitive decks for a lineup.
We ride as one.
Can I paint you?
Be happy with that trade. We're playing Severe Renekton here. Yeah, and like the fact that like multi-deck things usually they restrict you on which cards you can have between which decks to increase diversity in the lineups. It makes it so, you know, you're even more restricted in how you're able to brew. I love the tactile feedback on this board. The little sparkles are such a good little cosmetic too. Yeah, iterating on decks that you've built, I think, is for me personally, one of the most satisfying things in a card game. Like being able to like track to yourself, okay, I discovered these things and made these improvements to my deck, and like my results improved or these matchups felt better. That type of iterative gameplay I find very satisfying in card games in general. And our opponent's unfortunately disconnected here. It's unfortunate. Our hand was pretty good. Well, if we get a free win from them disconnecting, it wipes away the close loss we just had. God bless. Oh, in the back. All right, so this makes the next thing I play get vulnerable, so we'll make our gift giver vulnerable here. Deal. It technically makes our sequencing for this feel a little bit less good, but that's fine.
I bear a message from. Oh, hey, what's that?
Do we open attacks here, or do we want to play Sparkle Fly? Open.
Out of my way. My board.
Nothing's lost. It's just waiting to be found.
Hey, you brought back my favorite star!
Pride was my end, as it will be yours.
I have it, Milo. My, what's it called? The weather's been nice here again, so most of my, non-stream gaming time's been Pokemon Go again these days. Walking around the neighborhood and playing that. Baby girl likes to walk around in the stroller, so I take her out and we walk around and I play Pogo while I push her. Yeah, someone else just posted a breakdown from one of the sites that said,
It's a living.
it said Zoe was in 2 of the top 4 decks. So, this gives vulnerable permanently, so I think using the Hush to stop her from getting hooked this turn isn't really particularly profitable, because she's just gonna get hooked the next turn, right?
Be brave.
I wonder how successful Pokemon Go would have been if it would have released with all of the features that it has today. Because it's definitely a lot more complete of an application, for lack of a better term, today than it was when it released 4 or 5 years ago or whenever it came out. What features did they add? There's gym battles, there's a PvP ladder, there's some more generic social features such as sending gifts to friends and stuff like that. Basically most of the things you'd expect out of like a Pokemon game, having grown up playing Pokemon video games, you can get on a Pogo now. Yeah, there's a PvP ladder. Yeah, it's great. I play that very casually. Yeah, it's actually really good. I like it a lot. Oh yeah, there's Team Rocket people that you can fight that like float around the map and stuff. The tracking aspect you added back in. I think so. I'm gonna be honest, I actually don't know offhand, because that's not something I ever used.
Shining softly.
If you end up poking at Pogo, there's a channel in the subs Discord server. Oh yeah, you could do raids for Pokemon again now. And you could do raids remotely with other people. So like we have a pretty active group in the subs Discord where people have a raid that they're looking for people to do. We pile in. Raid. A little Sparkle Fly. Our deck has not felt particularly competitive against the Sharina decks that we've played against so far. Severe and friends have just really messed us up so far today. Yeah, you can do raids with people over the internet.
We were peaceful.
It kind of feels like we're just dead here, huh?
Business as usual.
This is gonna give these quick attack. I just get to eat my board.
cans are superb. Bad for the teeth, though.
Bad for the teeth, though. Yeah, I mean, you basically have to have challenger units to interact with her profitably, right? Because she has spell shield, so even if you have removal, like your removal's not good against her because of spell shield. And you can't kill her in combat because she has quick attack when they're attacking, so you need to be able to force her to block. Hey, Tiger, thanks for the 16 months. Welcome back. Yeah, I think that's gonna do it. Womp, womp, womp. Hey, got some prizes. Okay. I think I'm gonna call it for Runeterra for the afternoon. Let's go ahead and play some Bioshock. We're getting close to the end of that game. It's been a lot of fun as a casual story-driven shooter game. Let's shoot some Sky Fascists, chat. How much time do you think the historic meta will shake out to stabilize archives plus strict saving cards? I don't know. Probably a month or two. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't fully shake out until the next card release even. There's a lot of new cards to try and figure out.